So, best 23 for the Ds, starting with the backline. So, Judd McVie, Stephen May, Adam Tomlinson, Trent Rivers, Jake Lever, Angus Brayshaw.
Yeah, another kind of tough backline. I think you've got most of the pieces slot into place quite easily, like Stephen May, Jake Lever's your 1-2. Judd McVie was stellar. Like, played every game after making his debut in round 1.
Yeah.
I think, when you have guys like Harry Shoes or Will Ashcroft, Mitch Owen's going to have those huge years in that rising star conversation. He was one that probably flew under the radar a little bit.
Yeah.
Trent Rivers and Angus Brayshaw at your halfback is quite nice. And then it's just the third tall, or if they are using a third tall, who that's going to be. Like, is it Dan Turner? Is it Adam Tomlinson? Do they throw Joel Smith back? Or does Harrison Petty play backline? You think he starts forward, and if that's the case, then it kind of opens up this selection debate, and we've probably got Tomlinson over Turner. Obviously they rate Turner quite highly, but Tomlinson got a decent look this year. Playing mostly backline, and he had some pretty good games as well to go with it. But if Petty plays back, then it's pretty easy selection for them. And then you add into that mix, Jake Bowie off the bench, Joel Smith off the bench as well, whether they use him at either end, and he could be another sub option for them as well. So it's a pretty solid back line. And they've, if May goes down or Lever goes down, they have got a few tools to kind of come in and help out. But they've got that flexibility a little bit with Harrison Petty playing forward and Joel Smith. So it's still quite a young back line. Like, Lever's not all that old, and then you got Rivers, McVie, and Bowie as those other options. So it's a nice defensive group for sure.
Yeah, I definitely would prefer to have Petty in the forward line. Joel Smith can rotate back there, and he showed that he can play forward
as well. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, in the finals, it is tough. Yeah, but again, Tomlinson is probably that third tall that hasn't proven as an option in the forward line. Yeah. All right, so the midfields are obviously gone. Solo ruck, no Grundy this year. Petrarca, Viney, and Clayton Oliver in the centre, and Ed Langdon and Lockie Hunter locking down those wing spots.
Yeah, it's pretty star-studded, isn't it? Like, it's, you could say it's arguably the best, but it's very top-heavy. And then after that, it might fall away a little bit. Like, I really like Tom Sparrow and what he's able to do through midfield as that B unit type setup. After you've got Petrarca, Viney, and Oliver's your 1, 2, 3. Like, you can throw Angus Brayshaw into that or up onto the wing. And those wing spots are pretty settled. Like Ed Langdon, Lockie Hunter. It's quite nice. Like, they've got Caleb Windsor, but I don't think they'll be using him anytime soon. So it's kind of a nice kind of outside run for them to have. And they could have a Trent Rivers come up through midfield like they did a little bit this year. But Oliver, Petrarca gone, and Viney is so strong. And I think, with Gorn kind of being sole ruckman, they'll get a fair bit of freedom. Maybe just a bit more cohesion a little bit, which is going to be kind of key for that midfield group if they can play together. And as mentioned, Tom Sparrow kind of coming off the bench. Kazai Pickett might get another look through the middle. Alex Neil-Bullen similar. Another draftee in Colton Tholstrup could be one. Tajwo Woden. Jack Billings, who they picked up, might be a sub option. We don't have him in the best 23, but obviously he's got enough experience to kind of be able to throw it into the mixer a little bit there as well. So it's one of the stronger midfield groups. It's just a matter if they can get it clicking again.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, and the forward line, probably the most interesting thing for Melbourne this year. So you've got Shane McAdam straight in, Harrison Petty, Alex Neil-Bullen, Kazai Pickett, Jacob Van Rooyen, and Bailey Fritsch.
Yeah, and then you can add Charlie Spargo off the bench. Joel Smith, as we mentioned. Cade Chandler we've got as the sub. Like, they've just got, it's the medium, small forwards they've got heaps of, and it's probably the tall forwards that are the big question. Like, Van Rooyen's cemented as already as their number one tall forward, and Bailey Fritsch is that really strong medium forward, sprightly type. And then it's Harrison Petty. Like, if he's fit, it worked quite well in his short stint as a forward. So maybe it's those three as their medium to taller options. They brought in Tom Fullerton, not sure he plays. Ben Brown and Tom McDonald, same. Like, I'm not sure if they're best 23 players. Matt Jefferson, they'll be keen to see maybe at the top level. Like, they tried to do what they did with Van Rooyen and have a whole season for him in the VFL. Might not have had the same return that Van Rooyen did in his first year, but a bit more development and a pre-season coming up for him is going to bode quite nicely. And they'll look to pair those two together for the long term. Shane McAdam, another kind of medium-sized forward who they brought over from the Crows, I think was he's a bit older than obviously some of the Crows teammates he had, but was really fighting for spots next to like a Rochelle, a Pedlar, and a Rankin. And I think he should be a starter for Melbourne after they brought him across. Alex Neil-Bullen, again, kind of a pretty solid half forward option. Kozzy Pickett, one of the more threatening small forwards. Really interesting to see what he's going to be able to do with the next year. We're kind of expecting to go to a new level, but he's obviously showing a lot already in such a short time. As mentioned, it's Kate Chandler or Charlie Spargo probably for a bench role. Probably got Spargo just ahead, even though Chandler played almost a full year. I think I'd probably have Spargo, and then Chandler can maybe be more of that sub option. And then some of the guys we mentioned before, Colton Tholstrup and Tajwa Worden can play a bit of forward line as well. So yeah, it's another, it seems like a strong group, but it was certainly the area this year that they really struggled with the Ds. So, does Tom Fullerton maybe get a look in if the Petty or Van Rooyen maybe don't find the form they're hoping for? So they've kind of looked to fix those options and kind of made it a bit more streamlined with their ruck forward mix, and it's just going to be gone, and maybe Van Rooyen rucks a little bit, but it's the area they need to fix if they want to be making prelims or grand finals again. Yeah,
and you mentioned them before, but if they're healthy, get a good preseason in them, there's still Ben Brown and Tom McDonald, and I feel like they are getting older, but they're still there.
Yeah, it's not the worst options to have. Yeah, it's certainly a matter of them getting their bodies right. Yeah, certainly a matter of just them getting their bodies right. Like Ben Brown's had a pretty luckless run. Tom McDonald's, I think, last 3 years have just been so up and down.
Yeah. Well, he played a couple of games this year, and he didn't.
They're just solid backup players when fit, I think, at this point of their careers.
Yeah. So again, should be making finals. Just please win one. That's I think that's all we're after.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Like the goal for them should be more than just winning a final, but it's going to be kind of a key factor in just how their finals run goes if they make the top 8.
It's also going to be a key factor in my mood for all of next year. So